Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our webinar. We'll just give it a couple more moments just to see if anybody else joins, and then we'll move swiftly on. Okay, I can see people joining now, which is great. Let's make a start. So good morning, everybody, and welcome to the webinar by Vantage 365 for effectively managing your workload using Microsoft 365. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is just a little bit of admin to start off with. So we are using Microsoft Teams live events for the webinar this morning, which means that there can be up to a 20-second delay from what I'm doing right now to what you're seeing on your screen. So if you ask a question and I've maybe skipped past it, I will come back to it and make sure that things do get answered. But you have the ability to ask questions while we are going during the webinar. You have the ability to use the live event Q&A. So please do ask questions as we go through. I will answer them as we go if I possibly can, or if not, I will make sure they get answered later on, or I will follow up with any answers that I can't answer live on the recording. The recording and the webinar itself will be available for you afterwards. So you can use exactly the same link to come back to the Microsoft Teams live event to also watch this again later on, or feel free to share it with your colleagues and they can watch this back at a later date. So I'll introduce myself first of all. So my name is Matt Weston. I'm the Managing Director of Vantage 365. My personal background is I've always been a consultant. I live and breathe Microsoft 365 as a technology. So I spend a lot of time not only in work, but also in my free time looking at how to help people to get more from the Microsoft 365 technologies. I am a business applications most valuable professional from Microsoft, so I have been recognised for what I do in the community, and it's all because I have a passion, and that passion is Microsoft tech. So hopefully you'll get some really good information from this webinar that you can then take away and start using in your own businesses and environments. So just a little bit about Vantage 365, about who we are. So we are Microsoft 365 specialists. We're located in the Black Country, just outside Dudley, so right in the heart of England, in the West Midlands. And what we specialise in is Microsoft 365. So that is our life day in, day out. But we really try and concentrate on the implementation of Microsoft 365 technologies, but not just the implementation, the exploitation of those technologies as well. And really the exploitation element is the reason for doing today's webinar, to help you understand what those technologies are that you have available to you and how you can more effectively use them in your day-to-day lives. So today's session is going to be approximately 40 to 45 minutes long. And I'm going to concentrate on some very basic elements to start off with, because when I talk about task management, I'd like to share with you what I think about task management, what I define that as, what it means to me. We'll look at the Microsoft 365 toolset that we have available to us, so what we have available, and we'll go into a demo about how it actually works and how it can be used quite effectively. And then we'll wrap up. We'll go over some of the what it costs, some of the ways that you can learn more about these technologies going forward. And if I've not answered any questions as we're going, then I'll also answer any further questions at that point. But once again, if you do have questions, please do use the Q&A section within your team's environment. That will come directly through to me and we can make sure that you get an answer. So let's start off by talking about general task management. So task management means different things to different people. It will mean task management will mean one thing to a developer. It will mean something else to a project manager. And it all comes down to how you manage your tasks, what you're managing your tasks for, who you're trying to manage those tasks with. So when I really talk about task management, regardless of what audience you actually belong to, there's always this element that is common to everybody. So when we talk about task management, we can talk about the analysis of those tasks. What do I need to do? What are the steps that I need to do to actually go ahead and create and perform that task? And that task could be something quite high level, or it could be something quite granular. But regardless of what type of task is, we have to be able to plan it. That's planning from my personal time perspective, but also planning where it sits in the bigger picture, making sure that I know when things need to be completed by, if there are any dependencies, and so on. So all these sort of elements come into the planning aspect of our task management. So even if I'm just doing something that is a task specific to me, I still have to go through that element of that thought process in order to actually make sure that I achieve it in the best possible way. But once we're planning these tasks, then we also have two other aspects. We need to be able to report on them. We also need to be able to prioritize them. So the only way that we can actually get our job done is by understanding where the priorities lie. Which jobs do I need to do first? Which tasks need to be completed before I can do anything else? And so that type of prioritization is something that you have to do yourself. You probably do it without even thinking about it. Quite often it's done subconsciously, but we need to be able to do that in a more effective way. And then ultimately reporting on how effective our management is. How effective are we completing our tasks? Have I got any tasks that are now overdue that I now need to be more aware of because they are late, and maybe that's having more of an impact on other things as well. So all of these things are just four of the elements that I really consider when I talk about task management. But why is it important? So tasks and writing them down really serve one of two things. It serves the ability to control that activity. In fact, I've actually, that's so important for me, I've actually put it on the slide twice. But I can control the activity. So that means that I can control what my levels of activity are. But also, if I'm actually starting to have to delegate and distribute these tasks to other people as well, I can control their activity. So everybody tries to work in a way that is going to bring us to a point where we're all pulling in the same direction. We're all working towards the same goal. So the task management should be designed to give us that control, not only from my personal perspective, but also moving wider into the organization, whether it's across physical teams, virtual teams, whatever it might be. We need the ability to have that level of task management. And ultimately, it comes down to this. It comes down to the picture that we have on the left-hand side. We've got that team working capability. So particularly at the moment, while a lot of us are still working remotely, we need the ability to centrally manage our tasks to be able to effectively work on them as part of a team when we're not physically together. So if we can use tools that allow us to actually do this in a centralized manner, where we can each really take note of what tasks people are working on, the priorities in terms of the bigger picture and the timelines that people are working to, that means that that will then feed into our prioritization mindset. But then on the right-hand side, we now, from an individual point of view, we are now managing our day-to-day work lives. So we all multitask, some more effective than others. So we have to be able to manage the ability for us to look after multiple tasks, to make sure that we're not forgetting anything, to make sure that anything that we do, like I mentioned earlier, is still working towards that common goal that everybody else in the organization is trying to achieve. So what tools do we have? Now, most people still work on pen and paper. Um, they will write a list of everything that we need to do in a particular day, and we go through and we tick those things off. And that is really effective as a tool, but we don't have the visibility for everybody then to say, actually, I'm already working on that, or you don't need to worry about that because I've finished my part, I can now pick that up. It doesn't give us the visibility. But having tools like that does have that huge psychological impact on us, because we number one, it means that we know what we need to do. We can and again, we can prioritize what we need to do. But as you actually tick things off, it gives you that little sense of, oh, right, I've achieved something. And especially when you get to the end of the day, you can look back and you can actually view what you've done, so you know how effective you've actually been on a daily basis. But we actually have tools available to us within Microsoft 365 that enable us to do all of these things, to manage our tasks in an effective way, where everything is centralized, everything is visible, or most things are visible to other people, that we can manage our priorities. We can reassign things if we feel like we're overloaded. And those are the tools that we're going to be exploring this morning. So the tools that I'm going to be looking at, first of all, I'm going to be looking at Microsoft Planner. So Microsoft Planner is a tool that ships as part of Microsoft 365, and it's designed for managing team level tasks. So think of this as a project, almost like a project task tool. So in there, I'm going to have a number of tasks. I can assign them. I can give them start and end dates. I can even give them subtasks in order to make sure that they are being completed in the way that I want them to be completed. But it's all done in a very modern way. So we're not just talking about a tick list now of things that need to be done. It gives us the ability to view them in a Kanban board, which means that I've got cards with the relevant information that I can move into different buckets to allow us to have different ways of categorizing those tasks. And we'll see that in a moment when we actually come to a demo. But what we also have as a result of using Planner is we have notifications and reminders. So if I assign a task to somebody, then they are automatically going to get a notification to say that a task has been assigned to you. Now that saves me maybe a couple of minutes of writing an email to say, you have this task assigned to you, that this is the information that you need to complete that task. So if I've got it in Planner, that is going to be done automatically for me, and they can just go and look at the task with all the relevant information in there. But if I have actually given it a due date, and that due date and therefore that task hasn't been completed by that due date, it is going to send out reminders every 24 hours to say that the task is now overdue. So it's going to also be chasing any individuals automatically for me. So again, I don't necessarily have to do that myself. But Microsoft Planner is an extremely effective tool for not only managing teams, but I can also manage my own tasks in there as well. So I can assign myself tasks. But if I've got multiple projects, multiple plans all working together, because I'm actually working across multiple different workloads, then I need a way of being able to bring them all together into a single pane of glass so that I know exactly what I'm being expected to do on a daily basis. Now, again, within Microsoft 365, we have a service called Microsoft To Do. So this now focuses on you as an individual. This is focusing on your tasks. And that gives you a really good place to go and create your personal tasks. So rather than writing them down on your piece of paper, I am useless with paper. I tend to lose it. So I tend to lose tasks if I do things in that way. I put everything in To Do, and therefore I can then track my progress against those tasks. But also anything that's been assigned to me in Planner, we've got really good integration now so that those tasks in Planner automatically are available in To Do. So that gives me, again, the ability now to actually start thinking about what I'm going to do for me in my day. Now, the big focus from To Do compared to Planner is that To Do is really giving you a tool set that is available for you to prioritize your day. So when we go into the demo in a moment, I'll show about how you can look at the tasks that are assigned to you. You can decide what you're going to do in that particular day, how we can then plan ourselves. Because that's the key thing that we're trying to do here. We're trying to look at how we can manage not just our team tasks, but how I can manage everything that I do on a daily basis. Now, both Planner and To Do are standalone services. They have their own apps available for them. But everything that we do within Microsoft 365 is designed to be integrated. It's designed to bring together the best of all worlds to give us that one single pane of glass where we can monitor what is actually going on. And within Microsoft 365, these are just 3 areas of integration that we have available. So I can, if I'm using SharePoint to manage my project, I can bring a planner into my SharePoint sites so that I can then build dashboards and I can track progress and I can make things as visible to everybody in the team as I possibly can. But we've also got really deep integration now within Microsoft Teams, where we have the ability to, again, have plans shown in a team, but I can also see all of the tasks that have been assigned to me throughout all of my different plans, throughout all of my different teams. And in exactly the same way, I've got Outlook. So I've got deep integration into Outlook, where again, I can see what I'm doing on a daily basis. So regardless of where I live my life, regardless of where I do my work, if I work in SharePoint, I can see everything. If I work in Teams, I can see everything. If I spend my day in Outlook, working through emails, I can still see everything. So having that visibility across all of my tasks is what is going to really allow me to work in a more effective way by actively managing my tasks. So that's a little bit about what we're actually, the tool set that we're going to be talking about. So I'm actually going to go into a demo and just show you how all of these key things work together. So here I am in Microsoft 365. So in Microsoft 365, to start off with, if I want to access any of those applications that I've spoken about, so Planner, To Do, SharePoint, Teams, or Outlook, I can do everything through my Microsoft 365 portal. Elements such as To Do, and obviously Outlook and Teams have their local versions as well. So you do have the ability to install an app into your local environment where you can actually then manage it without actually firing up a browser. But we're going to look at some of those key aspects of those applications about how they actually work. So if I want to go and access Planner as an example, I can come to my app launcher or my waffle. I can look for the services that I want, so I can see that I've been using To Do, so that's available for me. If I can't see it, I can always expand out to all apps, and then I can come down the alphabetical list and I can find Planner. And so if I'm just using the Planner application itself, then I can click on Planner and I can then command view my Planner hub, which means that all the plans that I have available to me, I have the ability to see in one place. But likewise, I can go and create new plans. So if I go and create a new plan as an example, I'm just going to call this my demo plan, and I'm going to create it. It takes just a few seconds to actually go and create yourself a new plan. And if you are familiar with other task management tools, such as Trello, then this should actually be a fairly familiar interface. But now, as the person who's managing this plan, I can go and add tasks. I can give it a name. So I'm going to say buy more biscuits as my task. I can assign it. So I can assign it to a specific person. I can set due dates. So I'm going to set that as due today, and then I can add the task. And now it keeps the task area open so that I can keep adding rapidly lots and lots of tasks. From there, if I want to go and add more information into that task, I can click on the card, and then it will expand out to give me full context of everything that I need for this task. So I can give it a start time and an end time. So I'm going to say that it's also going to start today. I can type notes in here to provide additional context about what we actually want from this task. So we want more chocolate biscuits. And I can even add checklists. Well, great question there. What biscuits will we be buying? I think I'll probably go for chocolate hobnobs. They are one of my favorites. So I think that's probably the one that I'll go for. But I can come into here and I can add more items to help this person to actually achieve the task in the way that I want them to. So I'm not going to I'm going to look like here like I'm micromanaging, but I can add in the constituent parts. So go to the shop, pick up the biscuits. So I can add in the checklist for what all the steps that people need to be going through in order to achieve this task in the way that I want them to. And I can add attachments. I can also add comments. So if somebody does come back and asks for clarity or maybe wants to make a comment on that particular task, we can actually have a conversation in the context of this task. And anybody who is this task is assigned to, so the owner plus any assignees will get notifications to say that they have that new comments have been posted, that they need to go and have a look at those. So I can post a comment, and that appears then as a thread at the bottom of the task. So everything that we've done so far is all about setting the task up for to succeed, to be able to go and assign that to somebody so that we can then get them working in the way that we want. I can even add additional buckets into here. So if I was to say that this is my shopping bucket and this is my let's call this my design bucket, my development bucket, I can actually split out tasks into individual buckets to help with the organization of these tasks. So I can add tasks into each individual one. I can even drag and drop between the buckets if I've accidentally assigned one to the wrong place. But we'll see in a moment why all these things that I'm doing become really useful. Because everything that we've done so far has just been for creating the tasks and assigning them, managing the workload. But one of the things that I said that we need to do, especially in this type of environment, is we need to be able to track progress. We need to be able to report on it so that we can then make more informed decisions. So this area is the board. I also have the ability to view charts. So charts will give me real-time views of tasks that are in progress, that are late, that have been completed. So I have the ability to see holistically across my entire plan, everything that maybe needs more attention, or maybe I need to go look at different priorities. So it breaks it down by the bucket. So is our design bucket doing better against their tasks than development? Maybe I need to concentrate more there. Have we got a large number of urgent tasks that aren't getting the love and attention they need at the moment, whereas there are more medium ones that are in progress? But when I jump across into another plan in a moment, just to show you something that's a little bit more completed, we'll also see that we can see the task assignment per members. So now I can start to assess, are we overloading specific members of the team? So if I actually come across into a plan that I started putting together for this demo, which has a number of tasks created, it's got a number of people that have got different tasks assigned, some late, some haven't been started yet. But now if I come to my chart, I can see that I'm getting a much clearer view of how my project is starting to run. So I can see that certain people have got tasks that are late. So they are the people that I maybe need to go and speak to. I can see that I've got the distribution of tasks across my plan, and I can also see what those tasks are down the right-hand side. So it gives me really good visibility. But also from a planning perspective, I've got the ability to come to my schedule, and I can actually see imposed on a calendar all the tasks and where they're actually running. So if I've given it a start and an end date, so a due date and a due by, then I can see in here on a monthly view to start off with where all my tasks sit. Or if I want to look at a weekly level, I can see a much more close-up version of that, And you can see it's actually flagging on here as well which tasks are running late. So the visibility aspect of this from a planning point of view is absolutely paramount to the way that we work, the way that we organize our tasks, and the way that we can manage ourselves going forward. So that's the team level task aspect. I don't know why that's not hiding. There we go, that's gone. So let's now look at the impact for a user, or for my personal task management. And for that, I'm going to come into the application which I said was called To Do. So To Do is now me looking at all of my tasks and deciding, what do I want to do today? What tasks am I going to prioritize? What do I want to achieve? And again, it's really useful because it breaks it down into a number of different areas. So if I have any tasks that are assigned to me that are being brought through from Planner, I can see everything that has been assigned to me. And it tells me in here what the task is and where it's come from. So you can see here, buy more biscuits has come from demo, and it's due today. My initiation meeting from my project Aurora is overdue, and it was due on Monday. So maybe I actually need to start thinking about that. But I'll come back to that in just a moment. But I can also come into my tasks, and I can add my own personal tasks. So I'm going to say that I'm going to follow up on all questions from the webinar. So that is a task which isn't necessarily associated with a project, but it is something that I need to do today. So I'm going to make a note of that, because that's something that has to be done. And if I go and now click on that, again, I've got the ability, almost like what I've got within within Planner, I've got the ability to add additional steps. So what are the things that I need to do? I can add some additional information into here. I can add files to make it an attachment. I can give it a due date. So there are all those key things that I need to effectively manage this task for me are available using To Do. But now I'm the focus, not the team. It's all about me. So let's come back to look at all the tasks that I've now got assigned to me, because now that I've got a few tasks, both from today and also from my plans, I maybe now need to start thinking about actually prioritizing them. So I'm going to start off by looking at what's important. So if a task in a Planner is marked as important, it will get flagged as that, and it will appear in my important view. So maybe I need to focus on that, but I want to add it into my list of things that I want to achieve today. So I can come to that task, I can right click, and I can add it to my day. So now everything that gets assigned into the My Day view is what I'm going to work on. And if I complete it, all well and good, I can then add more stuff in. So I'm going to work on that. I'm going to go and choose some of my other tasks that are in my assigned to. So what else has been assigned to me? Actually, I probably need to get that one done. So I'm going to add that to my day. I'm going to come and look at what are my individual tasks. Actually, I definitely need to do that today. So I'm going to add all of these different tasks to my day. And so now this is what I'm going to be working through. So I can then go through and say, which ones are the important ones? So that's the important one. So I'm going to work on that. And if I then complete it, I can mark it completed here, and it will then mark it completed back in Planner. So I'm happy that the task's been done. Whoever's looking after the overall plan is happy that the task's been done. The dashboard has automatically been updated to reflect that. So if I actually go and mark my initiation meeting as now being completed, that is now completed. If I come back to my plan and I come back to my board, let's just give that a quick refresh. My initiation meeting has now been marked as completed. So I didn't do that here. I did that where I'm managing my tasks. My charts are updating to say that actually now that task has been completed. So this integration is making it really simple for me to be able to track what I'm doing across all sorts of projects, across both my personal tasks and also anything that I'm working on as part of the team. But let's think about it. So only part of our tasks, some of the tasks come from actually what we do in Planner. A lot of us live our lives in Outlook. So actually, maybe I need to start considering how I integrate my my Outlook part of my life into my task management part of my life. So when I come to look at my individual emails, let's say, for example, that I actually need to go and perform an action based on one of these emails, I can command flag it. I can flag. So that now gets marked as an action within Outlook. So I know that I have a follow-up for that. If I come back to my to-do, I've now got a flagged email that is now visible in my to-do list. So if I now need to go and do something with that, and I want to make sure that I don't forget to do it, I can add that to my day, and therefore that task now comes through into my to-do list. So I don't always have to just look at my emails and think, what are the tasks that I need to do? You can now take proactive measures to make sure that you have a task that gets assigned to it. And then when I actually go ahead and create or complete that task, if I come back to my email, it will flag it within Outlook as being a task or an email that has now been actioned. So that same integration, and yes, I'm using the online version, that same interaction works when you're using the full-blown version of Microsoft Outlook as well. So that integration aspect doesn't just rely on being online, it goes across the board. So we've got a huge piece of integration there, which is really effective in terms of managing my tasks. And if I actually go into tasks from Outlook, it will actually take me to To-Do as well now. So that integration is there. So if I'm managing my tasks in Outlook, in Planner, or individually in To-Do, it is all there. It's an amazing journey how Microsoft have pulled all of this together. But what happens if I actually live my life in Teams, which is where more and more of us are now starting to live our lives? So within a team, I have the ability to add a plan as a tab into a particular team. So I've got Project Aurora as a working team. And in my team, I've added my planner in by going to my tab and adding in tasks by planner. So it's actually now been renamed slightly. So when I go and add tasks by planner, effectively, that's going to pull in my planner service, which we saw earlier on as a standalone app, but it's now integrating it into this working environment. And exactly the same rules apply. Anything I do in here will be reflected in Planner, will be reflected in To-Do if it's something that I've been assigned. I can still look at my charts. I can still look at my schedule. So all of these great management tools that I've got for keeping that awareness across everything that's going on within my team, I've got everything at my fingertips. But again, we've switched back there to team level task management. What about me? Let's put me back at the center of this. Now, we don't have a to-do app that sits directly within Teams. What we do have is, again, Tasks by Planner, which is an app that you can install and you can pin it to the left-hand side of your menu. And what that will do, again, is almost bring a to-do type of interface into Teams for me. So once again, what have I got here? I've got what's important. What are my tasks? Even if I've got a specific list of what am I doing on a day-to-day basis, I can bring all of these together into Teams to actually give me a view of my tasks. But if I do click across into To-Do, then it will actually keep that integration there for me. So anything that I do here reflects in To-Do, reflects in Planner. We've got one big joined up story. So the fact that I've now covered two of my main working interfaces, my Outlook for my emails, Teams for my chat-based collaboration, no matter where I am, I've got an awareness and a way of managing my personal task management. But there's one environment that we haven't explored yet, and that's SharePoint. Because while we do a lot of file management, a lot of our collaboration in Microsoft Teams, there's still a huge amount that we actually a value that we get from using SharePoint behind the scenes, because we get a SharePoint site associated with our team that we can use extensively to help with the overall project management and project reporting. So on my SharePoint site behind the scenes, I've got some additional pieces in here. So I've got some news. I've got a list of who's in the project team. So I can actually be making this a little bit more visible to people who don't necessarily need access to the team. But the board, if I'm reporting to the board, might want visibility over just the site where they can come and find more information. So I can bring now together more of the collaboration functionality that SharePoint gives us, and I can still bring in aspects of Planner. So I can bring in dashboards. So I can bring in certain parts of that reporting dashboard that we saw in Planner. Again, this will be updated live to say if somebody's got something overdue or somebody completes something, we'll actually see this constantly updating. Let's take it one step further. I've created a page which I've called my project dashboard. So now, as a single pane of glass, again, I've got everything that I had from Planner now visible in a SharePoint environment on a page. So I've got my dashboard on a single page. I've got all of my tasks on a single page with a nice reminder down the right-hand side, reminding all of my people to go and keep updating their tasks so that we can maintain an awareness of everything that's going on. So everything that I've shown, everything that I've got in SharePoint, I haven't written one single piece of code. I haven't had to even write a formula to do all of this. All I've done is use the out-of-the-box functionality to give me a huge holistic view over tasks across teams, across multiple projects, but also ways that I can now take a consolidated view of anything that is there for me, so that I can then go and manage myself more effectively on a day-to-day basis to make sure that everything is being achieved that I need to achieve. So that concludes the demo aspect of the webinar. Please do, if you have any questions on any of those aspects, please do start to post those in chat, and I'll make sure that we get those answered. But for now, I'm going to return back to my presentation, because everything that I've just shown, it all looks great, but what does it actually cost? So if you are using Microsoft 365 already, so you are maybe using Microsoft 365 Business, or you're using either Microsoft 365 or Office 365 enterprise licenses, you have Microsoft Planner available for you already. You can go and use that. So you don't need to pay anything additional to start using this tool. It's all about knowing it's there, and starting to think about how you can use it effectively. To do, again, ships with Microsoft 365 Business. It ships with Microsoft 365 and Office 365 Enterprise. But it also comes as Microsoft 365 apps, which is completely free. So you can go and sign up. You can create yourself an Outlook or a Live or does Hotmail still exist? That shows how out of touch I am with Hotmail. But you can go and create yourself a Microsoft account, and you can start using To Do for your personal task management today. So you can start creating your lists. You can start tracking them. You can start tagging them off. You can start accessing them not only on your on the desktop, but also on your mobile. So bringing all of these tools together isn't bank breaking. It's there if you are using Microsoft 365. It's just about using it. So now that we've looked at what those tools are, we've looked at vaguely how they work. Just a little bit of what I call a little bit of cheese, just to finish us off. And it's about how to remember which tool to use for which particular use case. So you have Microsoft Planner and Microsoft To Do. The first for your team, the second for you. So keep that in mind, and please do start using those tools effectively. So that really brings us to the end of today's webinar. I hope that's been useful. I hope that's been enlightening in terms of knowing the tools, what they do, how they can be used, and how you can use them hopefully effectively to help improve your day-to-day lives. If you do have any questions after this webinar, please do feel free to reach out. Our email address and our telephone numbers there, or please feel free to reach out again on LinkedIn. Go and search for Matt Weston. And I will be happy to answer any further questions. But for today, that does bring us to a conclusion, unless there are any more questions. I'm just having a quick look. Okay, so there was one question there, which is best way to set reminders and execute for monthly, yearly service renewals for business. Okay, so what you could do is have a, if it's for you personally, you could use to do. You can set a something to repeat. So you can have a repeating task that maybe runs once a year, and you can then have that, which so it becomes visible as part of your to-do list. Or you can utilize some of those other technologies available, such as Power Automate, and I'll be doing a webinar about Power Automate shortly, and business automation. You can use those types of technologies maybe to keep sending out reminders, or even creating tasks in Planner so that you've got it tracked again at any point in the future. Awesome. So I don't think we've got any more questions. I hope, but if you do have any more, as I've said, please do reach out and I'll be happy to help. But for now, once again, thank you for attending, and I hope you have a really good day.